Hi everyone, this is Claire at StudentRDH. Thanks for being here. Today we have some update about the NBDHE, so we're going to talk about that here. So let's see who we have here. We have Brianna, we have Alexis, Liz, Marissa, Sophia, Nancy, Cecilia. Who else are we having? Bree, Alexandra, David, Gabriella, Sunny. Okay, so oh, Harpreet, thank you. I feel like I recognize you, right? So I would love everybody to tell me where you are from, what school you're going to in the chat, and I'll be able to kind of cater that if I see something that we need to talk about. So feel free to share where you are from and what school you are going to. All right, so we have some Remington, that is perfect. What else do we have? Okay, so seems like really we have friends from all over the country right now. Connecticut, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Lane, I believe that's in Oregon. Yes, Baker, Michigan, Crystal, Boston, Massachusetts. All right, New York, everywhere. Okay, so friends, we're here today to discuss what the changes might be for the NBDHE. Now, my question is to you guys, when are you taking the board examination? Are you already scheduled to take the board examination? So we have July, we have, what else we have? August 4, sunny September. Okay, we have a lot of end of July and early August. And then September now, okay. We even have Liz is in October 3rd. Amanda, oh, I recognize your name. Hi, Amanda. You're thinking October and your third week of July. Okay. So has it been difficult for you guys to schedule the examination? Liz, you are from school, it's awesome. Yes, everybody's saying, oh, you had to schedule 3 times, Sunny. I know. Anybody who was canceled automatically and then kind of had to say, hey, you know, here's your new date. So, you know, we didn't have much control, right? They are really dictating what is going on right now. And raise your hand if you feel frustrated. You can say yes, you know. It's a very difficult time right now. And I don't blame you for feeling like a whole lot of frustration. You're like, heck yes. All right, so let me put this earplug. No, what do you call this? A pod. Let me connect with my pod so you might have clear. So let me see. Okay, guys, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna wait for about 2 more minutes to see if some of our friends want to join. And then for those who are on microphone, I would love for you to mute yourself if you can. We can open this to Q&A at the very end. In the meantime, just so that we can have clear audio, if you can mute yourself, that would be awesome. Okay, now my last question before we really start is, how prepared do you feel? On a scale 1 to 10, how prepared are you feeling? We have written 7, 5, 6. I am ready but scared. Totally. We have some 9. That is amazing. Okay. We have anxious, Aaron. That's definitely. I totally know what you're feeling. And we have also not ready. Okay. So really, I mean, it's really hard to understand exactly what's going on right now with the schedule, especially. It's a very difficult time. And the problem is that the NBDHE, it's not really their fault per se. It's just like the test center has not been able to accommodate you, right? And Maria is saying, I feel more prepared. But you know, the wait has been long. So it's great that you have been, you know, preparing better. And we have Valeska. Oh, hi. So nice to see you. We did a coaching session with Valeska. You're scheduled for September 22nd. Okay. So we have about 100 participants right now. I'm still thinking that we have some that are going to come in here. And with your permission, I'm just going to record this just in case you want to hear it again, or you have some friends who really need to hear this message. So I'm just going to throw it out there, guys. Have you heard about the short format? Yes, we have a lot of yes. We have some no at the same time. Vaguely, yes, a little. Okay, but you're not very well informed. Okay, so we are here today to discuss this. And if you have some questions, feel free to put them on the chat and we are going to answer them. And just make sure that you put, you know, your question. And if I don't answer right away, know that we can discuss that at the end as well. Okay. So Alicia, you're saying you're not happy about it. You're right. There are less questions. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording and then we're going to officially start our webinar. Are you guys ready? I am just waiting to see if you guys are ready for this. Perfect. Okay, so what we are going to discuss about is again the short format. And with your permission, I'm actually going to also put it on Instagram Live just to see if some of our friends wanted to share, have this message as well. So I hope all of this is going to work. All right, so I'm going to start press recording. Oh, it's already recording. Okay, well, perfect. All right, guys, welcome to the webinar that's about the short format, the NBDHE. I mean, are you guys excited or are you actually worried? You can let me know. Number one is I'm excited. Number two is I'm actually worried. You can tell me how you are feeling right now. Some are excited. Okay, some are anxious. I feel like you guys are more anxious than excited. And some you say both as well. Okay, all of those are awesome answers. It's just how the format is not exactly different. However, there are some things that you really need to know in order to feel completely prepared. It's like, you know, you were prepared to do a real marathon and suddenly you are cut it to half. Like, what does that mean to you? So we're going to discover that together. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. And I know you're asking, how can we change our exam date or how we can reschedule? I'll go through that as well with you. So do you all see my screen right now? You can put yes on the chat if you do, and then I'm going to start the presentation. Okay, so this is about the NBDHE change of format. Okay, so when did they come up with this? Literally, I'd say about a week ago, maybe two, and they said, oh, well, we're going to do something for you. It's actually positive though. So here, this is about, not about StudentRDH. I'm just quickly sharing you a screenshot of what the website is like. If you have any questions about how do I prepare for my boards, you can go to studentrdh.com directly. Again, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to tell you StudentRDH is awesome. Just do it on your own time. There's also a free trial over here, okay? So again, take your time. And maybe if you don't have StudentRDH, you can put it over here. I'll be happy to talk about this with you separately because today, again, our focus is the short format. So again, you can have the free trial here. Now, what I want to tell you is this is just a testimonial from our friend who said they love StudentRDH. But again, I'm not here to talk about this. I'm talking about the short format. So the problem was that testing was difficult. Why was testing difficult? Well, you couldn't schedule it because, you know, the test center could not fit you. It was just too small. It was, you know, you had to be social distancing and they couldn't put like their original 20, 30 people in one room. So that's why they had problem having you. Now, the problem was that, you know, the original exam was like an 8-hour exam, right? That was too long because, you know, a lot of exams that they have out there that use the same test facility are maybe 1 hour or 2 hours. So it was easier to schedule them. But you can imagine if you want a student to stay there the entire day, you know, they really cannot use their facility to have other students who are maybe nursing students or electricians or any other profession to be in the same room. So that was really the problem, okay? And some of you already felt it because you were rescheduled again, and again, right? So again, it's not really the NBDHE's fault. It's really just the testing centers. Again, it's not their fault, but it is really just what's happening right now. So they came up with a solution and they say, we're going to change what? We're going to change the format and we're going to change the time. So those are the two things that I'm going to talk about. But most importantly, what I really want to talk about today is what you have to do to reschedule, or when can you reschedule. So they change the format and time, and let's see what it looks like. So there are two sessions, right? Session one is they call the discipline-based component. So basically it's like radiology, when you see, what are the different steps that are involved in radiology to take an x-ray, the photon comes out and then what happens? Or it can be head and neck anatomy, or it could be, or pathology, it could be any kind of science subject. That's more like simple questions and answers. And also in there, you have what? Community oral health. Community oral health is a really, really big part of the examination. You really need to know all the different theories out there. You also have to be in the mindset of how can I choose the best answer, not the one and only correct answer, because as you know, in community, things are in the gray zone, right? So that is session one. And then there's something called session two, and it's all about case studies. So case studies are with images and you have to click through the tabs in order to solve a problem. Do you guys all know what a case study looks like over here in the, you can put it yes or no on the chat. I just want to understand how well you understand the different subjects and the different types of questions that you will see on the question. Oh, sorry, not the question, on the NBDHE. So I feel like a lot of you are already familiar, some of you are not. So, okay, so I have some screenshots, so hopefully you'll be able to understand how the exam rolls. But here is the change of format and time. So here it is, 3 hour 30 minutes is becoming an hour and 30 minutes. That's session one, okay? 200 question is gonna turn into a 85 question exam. Same for the break, okay? You keep your 15-minute break. And then 4 hour turns into an hour 50. And then 150 question turns into a 70 question. Okay, so basically they cut the exam by about half, a little bit more than half. Because instead of having 200 questions, they're giving you 85. Instead of 150, they give you 70. So in total, originally you had 350 questions. Now, how many questions do you have in total? 70 plus 85, that gives you 155. So again, it's about half or a little less than half that you have. So that is the big change that happened. In that way, instead of scheduling 1 dental hygiene students per day, they can schedule 2 dental hygiene students per day, right? They can have morning and afternoon. So that's what they're trying to do. Give the test center a better time so that they can accommodate more people. So you're probably going to see some changes in your schedule because they have been able to accommodate more people. Now this is, I'm going to go through this quickly just because some of you said that you don't know exactly what the format looks like. So let's do this. This is session one. This is what we call the scientific session, okay? General science or session one. So you questions and answers, you click, you move on. That's session one. What about community oral health? Or community oral health looks like this. You will have an entire case. Well, it's not really a case, it's more like a scenario, right? The school nurses, blah, 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 and then they went to the school setting and they this and that. So you read all of this and you have about 5 questions that follows this. You will need to answer them one by one and find clues within the examination here, within the case. Now, if you can see, there's a check function or flag function. We have a flag function at StudentRDH. If you go to the National Board Examination, did you guys know that you have a flag function? So we have a flag function here for you. So it colors it in red for us. When you go to the NBDHE, you're gonna kind of see a small flag. So before you submit your examination, you can see a grid like you see on the left side and see all the questions and say, this one I have not done yet, this one I've done, and this one is flagged. So you can kind of understand what you need to redo or kind of just double check. So if you didn't know that there was a flag function or review option, there is that for you inside the NBDHE. Now, one more thing here, which is the case study. Now, this is how it rolls. You have different tabs and you're going to click on them one by one. And you're going to answer the question, and you're going to find the clues within the profile, the chart, the radiograph, or the photograph. Okay, so this is all session 2. This is case study. This is a screenshot, or this is a video of StudentRDH, because obviously I cannot sit in the NBDHE and take their screenshots, but we designed it so it's like as close as possible to the actual examination, so you are prepared on the computer. So now we reviewed what the sessions look like actually. Well, let's talk about the short format again. So when will this start? Guys, when will this start? So this is what the NBDHE said, mid-July. So that's why I asked you guys in the beginning, when are you taking your board examination? When are you scheduled to do so? Because mid-July is when they want to start. So if you have an exam date before July, you might not see this. If your exam date is after July, there's a chance that you will see this. And I'm saying there's a chance because not everybody will be tested on the short format. Okay, so here's a quote from them. Candidate will be able to self-schedule short form NBDHE testing appointment roughly 2 to 3 weeks before the implementation date, which is anticipated to occur mid-July. So again, in mid-July, they want to do the change. What they're going to do is this. So in order to test for the short format, you will actually have to cancel your current testing appointment. But guys, listen to me very carefully right now, okay? I'm not saying go cancel yet, okay? What I'm trying to say is that you cannot, let's say this is the long format and this is a short format. You cannot be scheduled for the long format and expect them to give you the short format. It's not going to happen like that. What they will do is, okay, here it is. Okay, what they will do is actually give you an email. You're going to receive an email, and that they're going to tell you, hey, do you want to change your exam date? Okay, and when? 2 to 3 weeks before the implementation date. So maybe early July, you're going to start an email from NBDHE that says, hey, do you want to reschedule it? When you get that invitation, then you can schedule it, okay? So do not go there and cancel yet. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you over here is that when you are going to do this, you will need an invitation, okay? Is everybody clear about this, guys? Ladies and gentlemen here who are on the chat here, please say if this is clear. I don't want you to cancel anything. You will need to wait for an invitation from them directly. Okay, do not change anything yet. And then they will be able to tell you, yes, you can reschedule your date, okay? So know that again, if you have a schedule for, let's say, July or August, it will not give you automatically a short format. So I don't want you to go ahead and just study for the short format, because you might still get the long format, because starting around mid-August, they haven't exactly set the date yet. So the bad part is that we have to prepare for the short and long format, all of those, okay? So the bad news is this year, I know it's been very, very difficult for all of you, and I totally feel your emotional pain. Like if I were you, I probably would have pulled all my hair out already, okay? So if you are going to study, know that you can have, you probably need to do both, because it's very uncertain. Now, Liz, you're saying, so if you are already scheduled after July, will we get the short format? And the answer, Liz, is no. No, it's not because you are scheduled after July that you get the short format automatically. Again, you need an invitation from them that says, hey, please reschedule. That's when you know you are getting the short format. If they do not change anything in your schedule, know that they're not automatically giving you the short format. Does that make sense, Liz? I know there's a lot of uncertainty around this. That's why I'm trying to just really think through this and trying to give you whatever we understand from this. But we are keeping an eye on this every single day for all of you, okay? All right, so Amanda is asking, do you think eventually you will change back to the long format? So yeah, let's talk about this. So Kayla, you're asking, what if we don't get the email? That means you are not invited to take the short format. Kayla, I'm sorry, I'm sure they're not trying to discriminate or anything. Maybe it's really dependent on the region you are and the test centers, but you will need to wait for that email. And I know it's crazy because you are just sitting to get an invitation from them. Okay, so again, here as it says, this is from exactly their website. The ADA Department of Testing Center will send a survey to candidates with current NBDHE appointment, meaning you will need an invitation. And David, yes, you need an invitation right now to switch, okay? They said that they will send you an email or survey. Okay, so what has not changed is that pass fail, the same 75 pass grade, and you will see your results on your dashboard with the NBDHE about 4 weeks after you take the exam, although they say the results come earlier than that. Now, does the content change? Actually, no, it doesn't, okay? No, it doesn't. The content is exactly the same. Okay, same percentage. So scientific base, for example, it's the head and neck anatomy, provision for dental hygiene services, which is really related maybe to fluoride and things that we do in the dental hygiene clinic, and community. So it's kind of the same breakdown. Nothing really has changed over here. It's just the amount of questions that have changed. Now, we had a question earlier. Is that easier or harder? I mean, it's hard to say. The only problem is that because of the short format, you will be tested on less questions. So if you make a mistake, that mistake is going to weigh a lot heavier just because you are going to test it on less questions. So let's say instead of having 100 questions, you have 50. So one mistake counts for a lot. It's like counting for basically almost 2 points. So, you know, it's hard to say if you like the short format or the long format better. But what I would say is that the practice still is exactly the same. You will need to study as usual because the chapters are the same. They haven't changed anything in their content yet. So instead of having 5 questions on oral pathology, you might see 2 questions, but you still see oral pathology, you still see community oral health, head and neck anatomy, embryology, everything, okay? Infection control, really important now as well. And case studies, you know. So please study as usual. And then if you are not having a test date yet, you can schedule it right now, or you can wait until later after mid-July, after they release their short formats, okay? My preference, if you have not yet scheduled, just wait just a few more weeks, and then there will be a little bit more clarity about what's going to happen. But again, you need to wait for an email to get the short formats. And at StudentRDH, we're asking you to just keep an eye on everything what's going on. Subscribe to our email. You can go to StudentRDH, and there's an area when you can sign up for the top 150 drugs booklet, or you can sign up for our vitamins. And all of that, we will also provide you some sort of latest update. So stay tuned with every of our email that we have if you have not StudentRDH yet. Now let's take some questions here. So we have Valeska is thinking it's going to be better because you're going to be less tired, and that is true too. Because a lot of times we make mistakes because we are tired, right? I mean, who wants to go to an 8-hour examination? I don't want to go through an 8-hour examination. So I hope that, you know, this is going to help a lot of students, especially if you have some anxiety around testing, especially if you feel like tired physically. We have Tamara who's asking, if I get an invitation and no, I do not want short format, would they give me long exam format? So currently that's what's going to happen. Okay, they're going to send you a survey, an invitation, and you can say no to that. However, they have not sent out that yet. Okay, stay tuned on what it exactly looks like. And again, when that happens, I'll tell you exactly what it looks like. Okay. Sorry, I'm choking on myself. Whew. Alicia, is there mock board for the short version? So guys, do you have StudentRDH right now? Or you can say yes or no. You can tell me anything. I'm not here to sell you anything, guys, but we are working currently on the short format examination as well, okay? So if you have StudentRDH, you will get it as well, Okay, we are working on it right now. When they announced it, we're like, we got to do something for our students. So we immediately started to work on that. So know that if you have StudentRDH, you will also get a mock exam for the short format so that you are prepared for that specific examination, and the timer will change as well. We had some questions saying, will the pricing change for the NBDHE? No, they are still charging you the same amount. Thank you, Alice, for asking that. And I know we had a friend who said, no, you are still paying the same. Thanks for answering to each other. Ramona is asking, you answered my question. Oh, you would like to take it longer. Okay. And that is, you know, it really depends on your style. Okay. Maria saying, if I get an email for the short version and I say yes, do I have to change my date, or will the short one be held on the date I'm already scheduled on? That's a great question, Maria. Right now, if you are going to test for the short format, get an invitation and say yes, more likely you are going to be rescheduled, okay? So right now, again, there's a lot of uncertainty. They haven't said yes or no. They are trying to work right now with the the testing center. So it's a little hard to say. In every region, Maria, is different. I don't know where you are from, but you know, some places, for example, in New York are busier than in Texas. So, you know, we have to really think about all those circumstances. Amanda, how many times can you take it? Do you guys know how many times you can fail? So, you know, 5 times is the rule right now, 5 times, but every time you fail, you have to wait 90 days in order to reschedule your exam, okay? So hopefully we do not get there, because, you know, 90-day wait right now with the current situation might need a whole year of waiting until you can reschedule. So there's gonna be, you know, a longer wait period. So, you know, hey, luckily you can fail it quite a few times, but again, the rescheduling period is gonna be really, really tough. Okay. Marissa, will you have the option to take the short or long? So next year. So this is what's going to happen next year, guys. What's going to happen next year is that you are going to, we don't know yet, because what they are trying to do is they're literally working with trying to schedule everybody. So as soon as, you know, a backlog of all the students who need to take the board are done, they're going to remove the short format and they're going to long format again. So next year is hard to predict what is going to happen. This year, obviously, we're doing the short format. But again, as soon as that backlog clears, then we are going back to normal. Does that answer anybody over here? Especially if you are in your first year of school and if you have not yet scheduled your boards. Yes, thank you, Marissa. Brittany, can you take your regional boards before the national boards? And that is actually what I would prefer you to do, just because the regional boards is shorter and then the national board, so you have a good taste, you have a good example of what a computer exam is going to look like. Okay, you're preparing yourself with the shorter version and then you tackle the big day. Okay, so please take your regional exam first. JT Thompson is asking, are there going to be pilot questions on the shortened version? The format is exactly the same. So when you sit down, guys, in front of the computer, they're going to give you a few test questions about, you know, just for you to test the mouse and see the computer works perfectly and you can get used to it. So that is going to be exactly the same. You just can think of like the exam questions being cut by half, so that you just can accommodate more people on the same day in the testing center. Great. So do you have to pay, Yosimar, to change the short format? No, you don't have to pay anything. They will give you an invitation that should already be included in the fees that you already paid. Okay. Great. So anybody else have a question? I know we had a lot of questions and might not have been able to read everything. Gianna is asking, do you get to choose the date for the short form, or will they provide the date available? So what I believe, so are you already scheduled, Gianna? If you are scheduled already, when you, okay. So when you get an invitation, you know, I'm not sure if they will really give you like a choice of an examination date. And again, I'm sorry I don't have this information, Gianna. They're still working this out with the test centers. but I'm really thinking that it's going to be hard for us to have like 10 different choices. It might be between this and that, and you might need just to take whatever you're most comfortable with among the very little options that you have. JT's asking, I mean, are there going to be questions that are put into test to validate the question? Oh, okay, JT Thompson, I understand now. So the questions all have been validated. So, you know, they went through a process already, and it says in their guidelines, they have been validated. So, you know, you don't have to think about the quality of the examination. It's going to be just like the National Board examination quality. They just cut the questions in half, basically. All right. I scheduled Shelly, my original, to get a sooner date. Do you think that will impact me with the choices or chances of getting the short invitation? Well, Shelly, the thing is that if you're taking it soon, rather soon, earlier than mid-July, you are still going to test it with the long format. So I know we had a few students here who are supposed to take it earlier in July, before mid-July, you know, time that they have given you. In that case, you will have the long format. They have not transitioned yet. Okay. Felicia, you're asking, I'm scheduled for August 1st, but you want the short format. The only thing you can do, Felicia, is to wait for that invitation. And honestly, if you do not get that invitation, my recommendation is just go take the exam, because it's really hell right now to try to schedule it. And I know the long format is pretty tiring, but you know what? I bet you have already studied in order to take the long format examination. We have Ikram saying, do you think, sorry, I'm going to go back. I'm reading a lot of questions right now. Do you think, sorry, I totally lost it. Totally lost it. I was looking at this. Do you think since it's short, so the question is going to be harder? And Ikram, in terms of the question difficulty, there's nothing that really changed, okay? It was just like the NBDHE. Now, the only problem is that because it's a shorter format, when you make a mistake again, it is a lot more pronounced. So it's really important that we study even harder right now, because again, you know, having less trial, having less question, you know, it could be a good advantage because you keep like your mind being fresh, you know, you don't feel as tired. But again, the mistakes, you know, can be very costly. Okay. Any more questions? I know I skipped some questions because they just come faster than I can read them. And in that case, you know, if you want to repeat your question, please, you know, put it out there. Anna is asking, when is the soonest date to take the short version? They are releasing it around mid-July. So that's when you can take it. But again, it's not because they're going to release it that you're automatically going to be transferred to the short format. You have to get an invitation. It's like being invited to the Met Gala or to the secret party, okay? So just stay tuned for your email. When are they sending this email? That's gonna be around early July, okay? They said 2 to 3 weeks before mid-July, so you know that's gonna be early July. And if nothing happens, if you do not see an email, please don't go ahead and cancel it or anything like that. You can call them, yes, that's always an option. But again, you know, I think, you know, you guys have been studying, right? Is there anybody who has never studied for the NBDHE? I'm pretty sure all of you have actually studied, right? So if you are prepared, you know, it doesn't matter which format you get.
Primero aquí, después allá.
And the short format, you will be prepared, okay? So that's my recommendation, just to just make sure that you are getting ready for any type of format. The content is the same, okay? It's not because you see a patient, you know, 5 patient or 2 patient that your quality is going to change, right? When you are at the school, you know, whether you see 2 patient or 5 patient, you always provide the same type of care. So that's the same thing here. Whether you have 155 questions or 350 questions, you want the same quality of study. You want the same quality of, you know, performing well in the examination. Okay. Casey, still a graded on the curve. Yes, it still applies. That, you know, you might get a 75, that might be adjusted to a 73 or 80, depending on, you know, what happens. So that is still exactly the same. Kayla, what is the regional examination? It is like the CSCE, the rep for the West Coast, the credits on the South, you know, that's the regional examination. Gianna, should we take our mock more than once? Yes, please. Just do it again. Maybe twice is a good idea. And then again, we are coming with the short version of the mock examination, so you'll be able to practice with that as well. Okay. And Valeska is sending a lot of positive vibe right now for everybody to feel good and to have a wonderful day. Okay. Let's see. What do we do, Paulina? What do we do to get an invitation? Honestly, there's nothing we can do. We just have to wait and get the invitation. Okay. It's like being on that list to get invited to the hottest like restaurant in the city. There's nothing really we can do. It's not because we're going to email them that they're going to invite us. They're really working, I believe, with, you know, the testing centers. Therefore, you know, it's a lot of like, you know, understanding what your local testing center is also capable of doing. Okay, anybody else here? Pauline, I know you want to take it as soon as possible, and I do believe that there's going to be some good news for those who have not been able to schedule until September or October because of this. Wendy, you said, will the clinical exam be computerized? The short answer is it depends on where you live, Wendy. Are you taking the REB or the CSCE? Because if you are taking the CSCE, you will still need to take the clinical examination. If you're taking the REB, they are moving to an OSCE, which is a computerized examination. So it depends, and you can tell me where you are from. All right. Brittany, do you have information about the mannequin regional boards? So Brittany, where are you from? Again, this is all regional examination. Every region is trying really hard to accommodate you guys. And there's a lot of different areas that are doing a lot of different things right now. So sorry, I cannot answer that unless I know exactly where you are and what your school situation is like. Ikram, so you're asking, can you subscribe to only the testing part without taking the course? Honestly, you cannot do that right now, StudentRDH. It's just because we consider the testing and our review going hand in hand. That's why we really recommend you to do all of this together. Betty, you're asking what the breakdown of the short version. So again, is session 1, which is basic science, which is head and neck anatomy, embryology, radiology, all of that. And then session 2, which is the case study. Case studies includes a patient with some sort of condition. You need to treat them. They might have hypertension. They might have some lesions. They have cancer, all of those things. And, you know, think about, okay, do I provide fluoride here? What's their oral pathology look like? Are they in danger? Should I refer to someone? So that is session 2. So that is the big breakdown. That's an hour and 30 minutes. That's an hour and 50 minutes. Okay. Anybody have a question about this short format examination? Yes, Betty, all the 17 chapters we have at StudentRDH are included. It's the same amount of study that you will have to do, whether it's a long format or the short format examination. Great, guys. All right, I love all the questions that you have. I know it's a very, very confusing year, right? I mean, to say the least, it's just a very, very difficult year. I know it's just been a roller coaster ride for you to graduate, to be able to schedule even this examination. And now they're like, oh, we're going to do a short format, right? So many changes happening. But I think the good news is you guys have been preparing, right? So if you have prepared, you know, there's nothing that has changed. It's not because, again, you have 5 patients that you're going to do something different. You have 2 patients, the same amount of care, same amount of procedure, and same amount of study that you have to do. All right, so guys, I'm going to keep updating you on this and everything that is happening, not just at StudentRDH, but in the national boards, and every piece of information that I can find from not just the website, but also from faculties that I talk to, from students that have just taken the examination. So I'm going to keep updating you with everything that I have. So if you are with StudentRDH already, then you're going to get automatic updates from me. If you don't have StudentRDH yet, you know, maybe you can visit the website. I'm not asking you to subscribe, but, you know, get at least on the free trial so that I can keep updating you about things that are happening. I just really hope that everybody is going to pass their examination. I know it's been really, really difficult. Paulina is asking, what about the new period classification on the short version? Yes. Same rule applies. You're going to have to know the old and new classification of the AAP classification for perio. So we have that as StudentRDH. We kept the old and then we put the new and then kind of blended in. So you know exactly what the new, we said new classification 2017, if it is the case, so that you can understand the difference between the two. So Jocelyn, you're asking about specifically Michigan on the clinical examination. And I'm very sorry, Jocelyn, that the problem is that I can't really talk about this just because it's not just regional, guys. It's like actually your school choosing to do something. So for example, even if you have the REB, it's not because you have the REB on the West Coast that your school is going to choose to follow the computerized examination. So it's really hard to say, hey, this whole region is going to look like this. It really is case by case, depending on, again, what your school chooses to do. So again, Jacqueline, I'm sorry that I cannot provide information about exactly what is going to happen in your own school. Alice, you're saying blood pressure will be on the test. The new one, Alice, all of that has changed. You know, this year, the new one only, you don't have to know anything about the old class, blood pressure classification. Thanks for asking that. Thank you, Jacqueline, for also understanding. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I was putting this on Facebook Live as well. We had our friends here. And sorry, I haven't been able to answer our friends who are right now in Facebook Live. Those are our friends through this camera who are on the other side. It's nice to have you all, guys. I hope this was helpful. Okay, Emily, local anesthesia, nothing will change. Okay, let's not think that everything will change. Local anesthesia will be exactly the same. All right, so again, I hope this was helpful. There are still more information that are going to come. I just wanted to update you as soon as I saw this. I'm like, I got to schedule a webinar next week. So if there are more information that I'm going to share, I'm going to tell you to jump on another webinar with me and being able to discuss this. Okay, I think we're all on the same boat, whether on your West Coast, we had Michigan, we have Florida, we had California, we had everywhere. And I want all of you to pass, and hopefully everything will be done and you'll be laughing and drinking your margarita or mojito and be happy that you are finally done. I pray for that day for you as well. I know it's been extremely, extremely difficult. So again, you might see my face a lot more than usual. Usually, you know, guys, I'm behind the scene. I don't really exactly show my face, but there's a lot of things happening. So I'm creating more videos. I'm doing a lot more webinars than I used to do. And if you like StudentRDH, please tell your friends. If you need support from me, you know my emails, guys, right? Anybody can share my email. It's very easy to find me. I try to answer to all of your questions. And this year, you know, I think we'll all have to hold each other's hand to go through this COVID situation and being able to pass the examination. Guys, you're going to graduate in a very interesting time, but you know you're going to be safe because by the time you really start working, clinic will have figured out how to be safe for yourself, for your patients, and everybody. So, you know, in a way, back in the days, they didn't wear gloves, right? They didn't even wear masks. So at the end of the day, right now, what we're doing is really, really like, you know, working with everything, every precaution we have. We are more than ever in a safe environment for dentistry. Okay, so Felicia, I'm going to send my email over here, clairej@studentrdh.com. And guys, I'm going to leave you over here. It's been awesome to have you together. I know I cannot see some of you guys' faces, but hey, if you want to turn on your camera, maybe we can do a group selfie. How about that? Would that work? You guys want to turn on your camera and then we can do a group selfie. This is just an update from me. Yes, I know I see you fluffing your hair. Bye guys, everybody who was in Instagram Live. Here are our friends working here, being super positive after all this. All right, so everybody on Instagram, bye-bye. Guys, are you ready for this, what do you call it? Selfie. You guys all ready for the selfie? Okay, so let me do this. Give me one moment. Yes, we have more and more friends coming in. Perfect. Oh, Emily, you're here. Okay, perfect. Hey, so Emily is with team placement. Did you guys see some email from me? Sometimes I talk about team placement. It's a Also, okay, some of you saying yes. Okay, so awesome. Well, travel program. I mean, who doesn't want to travel and practice dental hygiene at the same time, especially if you're young? You know, I think it's awesome. So, you know, please follow team placement. Okay. All right, guys, are you ready? Yay. Okay, you guys are awesome. I see some familiar faces too as well over here. I wish you the best. Again, I'm going to update you. You're going to hear from me a lot more. Okay. Okay, stay tuned, stay positive, okay? Bye.